Welcome to Mental Health First Aid. Our session today, we're going to talk about marketing. Marketing of the Linden Oaks and discuss the different aspects of marketing, what they do exactly. The reason this is so close to my heart is because I'm part of the marketing. And part of the marketing is Mental Health First Aid. We have two guests with us today. One is Rahul Bhala and one is Katie McGuine. And both of these people I work with. And Rahul, I just wanted to ask you a little bit, what does marketing do?
Sure. I think when people think about marketing, they think about it in a specific way. When it comes to Linden Oaks, we actually do a little bit different of a job. Our job is really to educate and inform the community of what mental health is and the services available for mental health. Linden Oaks is a first-class hospital with very many different services and programs that we can help people identify and move forward to get help if need be.
What are some of the things that we specialize in?
Some of the areas that we specialize in are chemical dependency programs, eating disorder programs. We have a unit for geriatrics, and just many different partial hospitalization and intensive outpatient programs that can be very beneficial for people.
Are they all tied into the main campus, or do we have different locations?
We do have satellite locations available as well. Our main hospital is in Naperville. However, we do have partial hospitalization and intensive outpatient services in Plainfield and St. Charles as well.
So mental health first aid sort of fits right into what we do.
It does. Mental health first aid is a great tool for us because it is a way to educate the community on different areas of mental health. It is also a wonderful tool to utilize to break the stigma of mental health, which we really need to be on board with.
Yeah, big time, big time. There's a huge stigma involved with mental health issues.
Course.
And that's one of the big things that we talk about and discuss with it. Katie, we've gone through the training together, the instructors training and stuff, and it was a week long, 5 days long. What do you fondly remember?
What do I fondly remember? Well, I'll have to tell you that just working with the consortium that we have and the individuals in the class really made it more educational. You brought out some different aspects that you know, were a little bit different than what we are normally used to because of the variety of people that we have in the consortium. Plus the opportunity to learn more about how to better educate individuals on mental health and what to do when it comes to meeting their expectations.
When you said consortium in the beginning, what is that? What's that all about?
Well, the consortium is people that we have brought together that we feel would be great partners in developing the mental health first aid course. And what they'll do within the consortium is they will go out to other areas and they'll train on different, on mental health first aid as far as the course goes, and work with Linden Oaks in the process. Right,
so we have 26 instructors.
Correct.
That we can tap into and help us out teaching classes. How long is the class? How long is the basic class?
The basic class is 12 hours. It's 12 hours, and I will tell you that throughout the entire 12 hours, you are learning something new about mental health, whether it's regarding eating disorders, psychosis, anxiety, depression. There's a number of things that you're going to continue to learn more about throughout those 12 hours.
Right, and with, I guess we should explain the training a little bit with instructor training. We went through the basic class first.
Correct.
And then we learned how to step into the instructor's mode. So we were learning the class in the beginning and to understand these different things. You know, I think one of the things that I remember so vividly about the class of how much knowledge was brought out to understand different issues people are having with depression, anxiety, like you said, psychosis, and to understand these things a little bit, to discuss them, because you don't discuss them.
Right.
People don't, you know, and if you want to learn about this, you look on the internet, you'll get a book, or you talk to a psychiatrist or a clinician or somebody specialist. You don't really, you know, discuss it with your friends or openly look at things.
Well, I think that's one of the things that why I wanted to become a trainer was because when I grew up, we didn't talk about the mental health related issues that your family members had. It was gone unsaid. And you didn't know if they were receiving the treatment or if there was a better way of approaching the issue. And through this, we're able to help eliminate that stigma surrounding mental health.
Even in the class, I mean, there's a session on listening. You know, just to listen to the person and understand what's going on, and then how to approach them and how to talk to them about it.
Most
And I think
definitely.
that was huge with the things. What do you think of the films?
Well, the films are very interactive. They're very lifelike as far as
That's what
the
I thought, too.
experiences. They give you a better understanding of what someone would go through if they were in a situation such as psychosis or depression. We know how to then approach them the right way. You know, mental health first aid is not to diagnose anyone. It's better to give them awareness of how do you look for the signs and symptoms, and if someone is going through something like that, what do you do, and how do you talk to them?
Right. It's sort of like the first aid part of it. You know, they look at with the CPR. Rahul, you remember that part where they talked about CPR?
Of course, yeah, and they were comparing it to your general CPR and how important it is to know about mental health first aid, because it is like a CPR, and it is something that people really need to be aware about, because it's a tool that can help identify when there is a problem
Right.
and help move that individual to receive more professional help.
Do you remember anything specific that you took out of the class, like Katie was talking about and I was talking about? Was it something that sort of clicked with you?
Sure, I think one of the things that I found moving and interesting to me as well was that there's so many different areas of mental health, and if you just look at your life and people that are involved with your life, you'll see that there is some sort of mental health that affects somebody in your life. And I think that's why it's so important to really know what is out there and what is happening to this individual, because you would really like to help this individual receive help. Therefore, I think it is important really to know all about the different areas of mental health, because you never know when it's going to pop up in your life.
Right. So, I mean, it just helps you to communicate better
Exactly.
and understand, because we've said this in the last show, and we're going to keep saying it in every show. It's not those people. It's us.
Exactly.
You know, and it's us that we all need help. And we all need to look at things and understand things better in order to help other people.
Sure.
And it's not our, it's our family members. It's our co-workers. It's neighbors. You know, it's everybody across the board.
course.
And the more we can do to knock out the stigma
course.
of these things, the better it's going to be all for everybody.
Of course.
I think that's a huge part of it.
Sure.
We were talking about marketing a little bit, Rahul.
Sure.
And there's some, and I guess there's specialties. And you've had a lot of training, and you've been at some other places for marketing stuff. So you've got a wide variety.
Sure.
To make my own word up there for a minute, and to understand these different things, different angles of it.
Sure.
Marketing for you is training, but it's also talking to docs, isn't it?
Sure. I mean, the way we market Linden Oaks is really to help people understand that we are there as a resource. We do have an intake department that's available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, that will take a call and do a free level of need assessment to see really what the need is for this individual. Is it a program that we can provide at Linden Oaks, or is it a referral that we make out to the community?
Right.
So it's really our job and duty to link providers in the area with Linden Oaks, so they know us as a resource, as well as for us to know what other specialties are out there for providers, so we can make the appropriate referral.
Right, very good. Yeah, there are a lot of interesting things with it all across the board. And when I said docs earlier, that's sort of a loving terminology that we use towards doctors. And like with coppers, we call us coppers, they call them docs. And I said, that works, you know, that's easy to do. When we come back, we're going to talk more about mental health first aid and how important it is for you to understand these different issues about mental health. We'll be right back.
Everyone has friends. There's online friends, friends to go out with on a Saturday night, friends to hang out with and do nothing, friends who show up on moving day. And then there are the friends who'll be there if someone is dealing with a mental illness. Are you one of those friends?
Whatever we deny or embrace, for worse or for better, we belong together.
Underneath everything we are, underneath everything we do, we are all people, connected, interdependent, united. And when we reach out a hand to one, we can influence the condition of all. That's what it means to live united.
The first step to getting into college is finding someone who can help. For the next steps, go to knowhowtogo.org.
Welcome back to Mental Health First Aid. We were discussing the marketing of Linden Oaks and what it means, and we have a couple of our co-workers, a couple of my co-workers here. And Katie, we were discussing specialties, I guess, what we get involved in and different things. Because Charla, who is our boss, she pretty much lets us free reign. I mean, and I guess you're looking for very energetic people when you're doing this kind of job. What specialty things have you been involved in?
Well, specialty on my end is on the education side. I think that developing that educational piece within the school systems is really key. The more that we can get out information on different mental health related issues to the students, to the faculty, and to the parents will help us eliminate that stigma around behavioral health, mental health.
There's so many different angles with schools, teachers, administrators, parents, students, all different areas like you're talking about.
Exactly.
So that's a lot of people to discuss this with.
So when I go into the schools, recently a lot of what I've done is on suicide prevention. The program is called SOS, it's Signs of Suicide, and it's an outstanding program that's done throughout the country in junior highs and in high schools.
So this is not a program that you made up yourself, whether it's a
No.
regular curriculum that you follow and you
No.
can add to it.
No, Screening for Mental Health is a company and a corporation that made up this program, developed this program for us. And they have given us the tools that we can use to implement this program into the schools. And it's designed to educate kids on what are the signs of depression and what are the risk factors of suicide. And by knowing what the signs are, you can help get someone help and treat them, get them treated for what they're struggling through. Whereas if you aren't being treated, you could be at higher risk for suicide if you have depression or anxiety or substance use issues.
Now, what is the people? Are the schools a little anxious about talking about suicide because if you talk it, then you might bring it up and they might want to commit something or do something?
You know, I think that's one of the things that we talk about with the schools right away. It's a buy-in program. We want to make sure that everyone in the entire school understands that the importance of the program is to not bring fear into their eyes that this is going to happen. The more that you educate kids on the topic of suicide prevention, depression awareness, the likelihood of the factors of suicide go down. It's been an evidence-based program that they see that roughly 40% of kids that normally probably wouldn't have approached them will approach them after they go through something
and
like
that just makes sense when you think about it that way. It just makes perfect sense that if somebody's got it in the back of their mind, they're not discussing with anybody, and all of a sudden this topic comes up, now you've got somewhere to go to get help and to understand it better. Boy, it sounds like common sense to me.
Yeah, it is. I mean, the philosophy behind the whole program is called ACT. Acknowledge when someone has a problem, express that you care, and tell a trusted adult. And, you know, kids can develop that trusted adult, and whoever it is, whether it's a peer, sibling, you know, relative. But that's the key, is that they want them to go to someone and get the help that they need.
What's the age limit of that?
You know what? I started doing the program when the kids are in junior high. So I have...
That's when the hormones are kicking.
We see a lot of different transitioning in junior high. So it's important to get that information to them, you know, starting at that point. And then we go through all the way through high school.
If somebody was interested in this to get this, I mean, how long is it?
The program itself is about an hour long, roughly between 45 minutes to 60 minutes. Anyone that's interested can contact Linden Oaks, and they can then get us in touch with the marketing department.
Now, is this like an assembly, or is this classroom to classroom, or?
It's a great question. It can actually be either way. The majority of what I've done is in the classroom. It's more effective because you have more of that connection with the students. If you do it in an assembly form, it makes it a little bit difficult to make that connection, because along with the program comes a DVD. It's called Friends for Life, and that DVD has different scenarios that run throughout it that we like to make sure.
So it's hard to show something that big to an assembly type thing.
Exactly. Yep.
Very interesting. What other classes do you teach?
Well, with the other educational programs that we've taken place in now is the Virtual Dementia Tour. It's a program that Second Wind Dreams came up with, and it's actually just educating individuals, whether it's family members, community, staff, of different nursing home, assisted living, dementia care units on how individuals struggle and what their struggle is with dementia, the different stages of dementia, and what they're going to be going through while they're struggling with dementia or Alzheimer's.
Right, big one. You know, things like this, it might sound corny, but I tell you, I'm watching my parents age, and they get to different plateaus, and what's happening with them. And my sister and myself, we sort of joke around with it, you know, well, get used to that because we're going to be doing that next. You know what I mean? It's that kind of thing.
Right.
And the knowledge that you can bring in about dementia and understand that, I don't know what the stats are, how high they are, or whatever, but I mean, it's a very possible thing that could happen. And you'd want to understand that, you know, to see all the different avenues of what's going on with it.
Well, that was one of the reasons why I wanted to take on the program. I myself had my grandmother had dementia, and you know, later on struggled with Alzheimer's as well. And you know, it was one of those things where I wanted to learn more about it because I didn't have that knowledge of the disease, and I didn't know how rapidly it can affect people. So that's why I wanted to take on this as an educational tool for other people to learn more about.
I don't know if you know the answer to this, and it's just out of curiosity, and this is something we'll indulge in really deeper with clinicians and doctors and different things, but just out of curiosity, dementia and Alzheimer's, is that close? I mean, if you get dementia, what's the chances that you're going to go into?
You know, that's a really good question. I'm not quite sure on that response, you know, as far as what the likelihood of someone progressing.
I don't know if it was part of your curriculum that would show, or...
You know, it doesn't show that. What it does is it gives them more of an awareness of what are the effects. We do...
And the differences?
Yeah, and the differences between it,
to see where you're at or what's going on with it.
Yeah, what they do is they send them through an actual tour of like different tasks. They give them 5 different tasks in each room, and during those tasks though, they have their hands in gloves and fingers are taped because they lose the sensation of touch and feel. They have popcorn kernels in their hands as well to kind of stimulate some of the pain and some of the struggles that they have with their pain in their hands, and also in their feet too. They put the popcorn in their shoes.
So you're literally walking in their shoes and what it's like and what's going on, and how much better can you understand then? I mean, totally, you know, to what they're going through and what's happening. And then to be able to also, hey, something might be with dementia here if this is what's going on, because remember that happened to me when I did this. Yeah, very, very interesting things.
It makes a person more empathetic. When they're going through something like that.
Absolutely. And this is something else they can get through Linden Oaks, and you would be willing to do this and come out.
Most definitely.
Is there a cost for this?
We don't have any cost. We do all of our programs out of goodwill.
Okay. When we come back, we're going to learn more about programs that we're doing and different things, and we're going to whet your appetite a little bit with the different questions that I asked about dementia and Alzheimer's and different things to try to get you thinking about a little bit more, and when we bring the doctors and the clinicians in to learn a lot more about these things. So we'll be right back.
It begins innocently enough. You don't return a phone call. You break a date at the last minute. But in fact, it's the beginning of a pattern. And soon, your friend with mental illness realizes you're avoiding them. But what if you knew that your friendship was the key to their recovery? Would you still lock them out of your life?
I remember how much you said you liked wine. Oh.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of teens in foster care who would love to put up with you.
Ready. 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 Ready.
It can be a little awkward when your friend tells you he's been diagnosed with a mental illness. But what's even more awkward is, if you're not there for him, he's less likely to recover.
I'm here to help, man, whatever it takes.
Welcome back to Mental Health First Aid. We're going to be discussing some of the programs that Linden Oaks does for different organizations, and that we have a lot of different segments, a lot of different themes that I think would be very interesting for maybe one of your community groups, business, somewhere we can help you out. And the key thing here is, for these sessions, it's free, and that works out really well for you and for us. So I want to talk to Rahul now a little bit about some of your things that you do in your specialty, and pretty much it's in training, isn't it, where you set up trainings?
Sure. Linden Oaks, as a nonprofit hospital and a true leader in the field, it is our duty to really provide education, quality education, to different communities and partners and businesses as well. So we do a lot of different trainings around the areas of mental health, as well as education around the areas of mental health.
So when you say trainings, are you talking like what Katie was talking about with a session, or is it like where you set something up where you have a presenter come to it? You're not really teaching it?
Sure. Depending on who's asking for the education or training, for instance, if it is a business or organization that may be looking to get their employees more information on anxiety and how to deal with anxiety, that's something that we have many resources at Linden Oaks that we can turn to and have them come out and do an hour presentation or a half-hour presentation.
So you would like call Dr. Wright and see if she would come in and talk about it?
Exactly. We do have many different doctors and clinicians at the hospital that would be willing to speak on a certain topic.
There are true specialists on this and can give you really good ideas.
Exactly. We do numerous trainings and education opportunities throughout the year at Linden Oaks, whether it takes place at our hospital or we can do it off-site at your location. We can come out to your business, whether it's a police department, a school, or just a regular business. We'd be more than happy to come out, bring a staff member out from our hospital, and be able to provide a quality opportunity for somebody to really know about the different areas of mental health.
And in fact, case in point, the Illinois Crime Prevention Association, the vice president for, we have set up a session to have at Linden Oaks, and we're going to have Dr. Wright there talking about anxiety and police issues. You know, how to deal with it and stuff. So that's a perfect example. And we're also going to give a presentation on mental health first aid, where they can utilize or use that class as it goes through. So that's what you're setting up. Can they set something up at Linden Oaks?
Of course, if there's an opportunity for you to have numerous members of your organization come out to Linden Oaks to be trained or educated on any topic basically in the field of mental health, because we do have so many numerous resources we can turn to, we would be more than happy to coordinate that. All you would have to do is call us at Linden Oaks and speak to any one of us in the marketing department, and we can go ahead and try to set something up which will be flexible to you.
So what's the hottest topic?
Well, recently I've been getting a lot of inquiries on education concerning psychotropic medication, especially from schools as well, because they would really like to know what different medications do and how they affect individuals who are on these specific medications. So we do have some nice staff members as well as a few psychiatrists as well that would be willing to come out and speak on this certain topic and, you know, put together a half-hour, an hour presentation, again, really just catering to what your needs are.
We just had a recovery day, we call it, where we have a lot of people come in and speak, and there was an interesting one on those drinks, the
energy drinks.
Energy drinks, thank you. Yeah, and that was very interesting, talking about energy drinks, what's it do to the person that drinks these things, what's happening to their body, and different things.
Sure, well, Recovery Day is actually one of our professional seminars that we do put on once a month at Linden Oaks. Recovery Day is an annual day that we have at Linden Oaks, which is specific to people who are in recovery and professionals who work in the field of recovery. During the first part of the day, we had professionals come out and speak in different areas of substance abuse and chemical dependency, while in the evening we had more of a motivational speaker that was geared towards people who are in recovery and professionals who'd like to be there for support. For people in recovery.
Open to the layperson, they can come in?
This is, yes. Our professional seminars are open to everyone and anyone, and if you actually go to www.edward.org and look for the behavioral health link, then you can go ahead and see a list of our professional seminars for the upcoming year.
That's coming up in the, I mean, for the whole year, huh?
Exactly.
That locks it in.
Exactly, and we do offer CEUs as well at these seminars, but it is also open for your general layperson who would just like to attend to be educated.
Now, there is some cost involved with the all-day and half-day, different things.
Sure, we charge $15 for a half-day, which is 3 CEUs, and $50 for a full day, which is anywhere from 5 to 6 CEUs.
Any other benefits with taking that?
Yes, it is a wonderful place to actually receive quality education, gain CUs, but I also say it's a good area to network. We've been averaging anywhere from 70 to 100 people in attendance, sometimes over 100 people, and it's really a good area, a good place to meet others, meet other professionals, meet other people who are in recovery or suffer from a mental health illness, and really just talk and know what's out there.
Right, right. That networking would be awesome.
Exactly.
And that's what really works out well
Exactly.
with it. And also there's some food involved in there.
Sometimes we do have food involved, just depending.
Yeah, so keep an eye on that.
Sure,
See
definitely.
what you can get. What was your favorite one and the favorite speaker we had for the one we just did here, all day one?
Well, I enjoyed
the energy drink one, or
the energy drink one was very well received, and we did receive good feedback on every one of our presenters. I did enjoy our addictionologist, Dr. David Lott, speaking on updates in the field of chemical dependency. He is a well-known psychiatrist. He's the medical director of our chemical dependency program, and is actually a leader in the field. And it is very good to hear from him and see where chemical dependency programming is headed in the future.
You know, and Dr. Lott was very approachable.
Of course.
You know, very easy to talk to and stuff, and a real nice guy.
Sure.
We're going to get him on the show here
Of course.
and talk about different things too.
Sure.
Now, the next thing I want to discuss a little bit, because we could talk a
Sure,
whole
of
show
course.
on just these things.
Of course.
We have we're on a lot of boards and committees.
Sure.
What kind of boards and committees are you on, Rahul?
I'm a part of many different boards and committees. Some of them, for example, one would be the Mental Health Summit, which is a group of advocates who meet to discuss different areas of mental health and what's going on with different laws and programs of mental health.
Interesting.
It's a group that meets out of Chicago, actually. Another association that I'm a part of and a board member of is the Mental Health Association of Greater Chicago. It's also an organization that really advocates for people who have mental health disorders, and it's a wonderful organization that helps educate on different areas of mental health and is actually a partner in our mental health first aid initiative.
Right, right. So this keeps you busy going to these meetings. Are you
Yes.
are you any member? I mean, like a president or vice president or secretary? Anything?
Not currently.
Not, but have
Not
been.
currently, yes, I
If
have
you're
been.
in long enough, you will be, right?
Sure. I am a co-chair of a committee called the DuPage LAN. LAN stands for Local Area Network, and I know many different counties have it as well, including Kane, Will, Lake. And it's an organization, or it's a committee that really brings people, providers together to speak about different services available for people who are in need of mental health services. And it also has a wraparound committee that's attached to that.
And that's just a couple, I'm sure, that you mentioned.
That's just a couple, of course, yes.
I want to Katie, give her some time to... Katie, what are you involved in?
I would say that the most significant one right now is the Northern Illinois Employee Assistance Professionals Association, NAIPA.
Yeah.
We work with a lot of different organizations around substance use and other related mental health issues as well. But I am their co-chair. I was their co-chair last year for their conference. This year I'm their chair and have been appointed onto their board. So we continue to work with them as a resource, and then we also, like Rahul says, we sit on a number of different associations and boards on all areas.
I know we're in Kiwanis together.
Yes.
Greater Yorkville, Kiwanis, different groups and stuff. And
yeah, so we try to hit every focus area that we have in the hospital. When it comes to adolescents, I work with the Valley View Area Coalition for Youth, and there's some other land
I know you
teams
just
as
mentioned just a couple. I know you guys are on lots of them. I'm on several myself with kind of food pantry and the Illinois Crime Prevention Association. So we mentioned these things, and that's part of our job, right? Guys, I really appreciate you coming on the show and talking a little bit about this. Maybe we'll get you on again and we'll discuss some more of these things. But we run out of time. We have so many different things we can discuss. But I hope, like I talked earlier, we whet your appetite a little bit with more information. We're going to have some doctors, clinicians, different people come on and talk about specific things. And I think you're going to get a big kick out of it if you keep watching. So we will see you in the next show. Thanks for showing up this time, and we'll see you next week. Thanks.